One sector still waiting to get back to business is in-person entertainment, cultural institutions. But venues like theaters, museums, and an aquarium might be permitted to open as early as this coming Monday under the governor's plan. I'm joined now by Katherine Tallman. She's CEO of the Coolidge Corner Theatre in Brookline, and Vikki Spruill, who is CEO and president of the New England Aquarium. It's great to see you both. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
So, Vikki, starting with you, if it turns out the governor gives the go-ahead to institutions like yours as early as Monday, do you say yes or you're not ready?
We're ready. We've been ready, actually, since we had to close to the public on March 13th, almost 16 weeks ago, because we have animals to take care of, regardless of whether we're closed to the public. So we've had to instigate a lot of these protocols for some time now.
Katherine, are you ready to open as early as Monday? Again, we don't know what the governor is going to say later this week, but are you ready if he says yes to Monday?
We are not ready, and we did not intend to be ready by the 6th. We didn't intend to be ready at the first part of phase 3. We have a number of things to put in place, and that's what we're working on now. We haven't felt any particular pressure to open. We just want to make sure that we've got our ducks in a row and our staff is comfortable.
How about financial pressure? You don't feel that, Katherine?
No, I don't feel financial pressure to open because I think anybody would agree that a false start is the worst thing that any of us could do. We would much rather be comfortable, have protocols test on a short basis, and then continue.
And Vikki, when you mention the animals, I'm embarrassed to say I hadn't thought about this. I was going to ask you a question about finances too, but you have thousands and thousands and thousands of animals that you have to take care of. How many?
20,000 animals, and so
20,000, whether you're open or not. So
yes,
how deep a financial hole have you dug yourself?
So it's been a significant. It's been significant for us. For every month that we're open without revenue coming into the institution, it's costing us about $2.5 million. And that's after we've, had significant reductions in staffing and made all the obvious cuts that one would make.
My recollection was that cultural institutions like yours, I don't mean you, I mean both of you and many like yours, were hoping for billions of dollars in whatever the Congress passed most recently. And I think, if I remember correctly, they ended up with nickels and dimes. There's been no government support to help get you both through this. Has there, or has there? Vikki, then Katherine, has there been?
So we were fortunate enough to receive one of the early PPP SBA loans. Yes, and so that obviously counts. We are hoping for more, and there was a carve-out at one point for cultural institutions, and we sort of led the charge to try and get that passed. But it was, I think, $6 billion went to $50 million. So 50 million. Yeah, nickels and dimes.
And Katherine, have you seen any government support in the form of loans or anything else, or no?
Yes, definitely. We applied for a payroll protection program loan right away, and we got it within 2 weeks of application. So
you did?
It's not a huge number. It's $260,000, but it has helped we cut a lot of our staff down. It's helped carry our staff that's running the virtual screening room and ongoing technology support. We also, because we're now... Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, you go ahead.
Because we're a nonprofit, like the aquarium, but certainly on a much smaller scale, we're very supported by the community. And as soon as we announced we were closing, we started getting donations.
That's fabulous. Same. So why don't you describe to me, I am a patron of both your places.
Thank you.
For years, but I can't imagine what you'll look like when you reopen until there's a vaccine. So Vikki, starting with you, what does the aquarium look like whenever it opens its doors?
So the first thing, and I just want to reiterate this, that the safety of our staff, obviously, and our visitors is our primary concern, and of the animals too. I think it'll be a different experience, but we're doing all of the things that one would think will be mandatory face coverings or masks. We'll have timed ticketing, so you'll have a special slot. We're expecting probably 25% less than our historical visitors we've had in the past. One-way flow throughout the building, all of the interactive exhibits where you might touch, like Shark and Ray Touch Tank, will be view only. The good news is there will be fewer people in the building at one time, and so in some respects, it's likely to be a nicer experience, and we'll have increased sanitation and all of those things.
And you, Katherine, have a whole totally different thing. While most people keep moving, I mean, they may pause here and there at the aquarium. Right. We are in a permanent pause, or at least a pause for a couple of hours. At your place, what do you look like when the Coolidge reopens?
We look like a whole lot fewer people. We look the same in terms of the beautiful venue. We're expecting about 25% capacity, not 25% of, but 25%. So a maximum about 150 people, when we can have over 700 on a sold-out time.
So can you both, I mean, I don't know the business model. I'm assuming that a huge part of the money, your revenue, is ticket sales. People coming to your theater, people coming to your aquarium. Can you exist on these lower capacity levels, Vikki?
So I think the short answer is no. About 80% of our revenue comes from a combination of events and ticket sales. And our hope is that we are being very conservative in our projections, 25% of historic attendance to start, up to 45, up to 65, up to 75. But we are anticipating operating at a deficit for certainly the balance of this year and well into next year. I think that's just our new reality.
Is that your new reality, Katherine?
Oh, it's definitely the new reality. I think that it's interesting to hear Vikki suggest incremental movements toward more capacity, because our capacity won't change unless social distancing changes. So we're at 25%, but it will be better. And we came into this with a really solid cash position. We've run a solid operation. We got great community support. We did get the PPP loan. So we're good for the near to midterm. I think if we start to look out a year from now, and a year and a half from now, then I think everyone's in trouble.
I only have a minute left. How are your spirits, you two? I get a salary, and I have to say I am so thankful. We only have a couple of seconds. Katherine, you're laughing, which I guess is good. How are your spirits? Quickly, if you can.
My spirits waver just like the day goes by. It's a total uncertainty all the time, and I just try to remember that, first of all, these could be the good old days, right? I mean, this could be as good as it gets, so let's take pleasure in what we have now.
How about you, Vikki? How are you surviving this?
Well, I'm just so grateful for the staff who are in there at our institution every day taking care of these animals. And I'm so excited for the visitors to come back and to have some of that same joy and inspiration that I get to see when I go in to see them myself.
It's great. I wish you both luck. You both run incredibly important parts of this community. Katherine Tallman, Vikki Spruill, thank you both. And by the way, they're both doing great things while they're closed to keep connections to the community. If you'd like to catch some of Coolidge Corner's virtual screenings and lectures that have been continuing through the pandemic closures, visit virtualcoolidge.org. And to see some of the aquarium's daily virtual offerings, you can visit them online at neaq.org.